Good morning, folks. Given it is the weekend, roll the intro. Okay, so there's two quick topics that I want to discuss. One thing has been kind of infuriating me, actually both a little bit. The first quick thing is the NBA All-Star Game. So if you guys don't know, the backstory behind All-Star Games is that star players do not try at all. First of all, it is a game that does not matter. There are no stakes. For years, the NBA has been trying to make it more and more competitive. And just to make it a long story short, they are having rising stars playing in a bracket of 4 teams plus 1 G League team. Rising stars teams are like rookies and sophomores composed together. And then one winner can come out of those 4 teams, and they will be in the bracket on Sunday where there are 3 legitimate all-star teams and 1 Rising Stars or G League team that won. Now, Friday was when they had the Rising Stars and G League bracket, and one of the Rising Stars teams won. Then in one of the comments during the interview, Stefan Castle, who got the MVP for his Rising Stars team that won, said that you could see that in the first game, we were down early and came back to win. His message to the All-Stars was, just be ready, don't count us out. We all wanted to play on Sunday. I just want to bring up one quick thing, which is if you look into the comments 1 year ago about potential fixes for the All-Star game in this thread, look at this. My comment almost 355 days ago, which is right after the All-Star game last year. I said, make it Rising Stars versus All-Stars. So I guess my point in all this is I am super happy for them that they figured out a format that works. But just know that I came up with the idea first. The next thing I want to quickly talk about is about doping and the tennis doping rules. For those of you who don't know what's been going on in the tennis world, let me just catch you up really quickly. The number 1 player for tennis currently, Jannik Sinner, last year got caught for potentially doping, and people are really angry at this for a number of reasons. The first reason is people are angry because Jannik Sinner appealed the process. And during that appealing process, it lasted for quite a few months and he was able to play tournaments. Secondly, what ended up happening was Jannik's appeal succeeded. So that means he did not get a doping suspension. During the entire appeal process, people did not know that Jannik was doping and still playing. And people were really angry that they did not know. The news today was that WADA, World Agent Anti-Doping Association, they appealed the process. They did not agree with the ruling by the individual arbitrator who was looking at Jannik Sinner's case. And then he got suspended for 3 months through a settlement between Jannik Sinner and WADA. I just want to show you the reactions. Wawrinka says, oh, it's not a clean sport anymore. And then Kyrgios's reaction, let's drop my phone. Kyrgios's reaction, he's like, to the future generation of tennis, like something super dramatic. The reason why this is super frustrating is I feel like all of the concerns, I understand where the tennis players or just the community is coming from, but I also feel like people don't read and they don't read the rules and they don't spend any time to even understand the situation and how it's different from other doping allegations and other individual situations. First of all, people complain that Jannik Sinner is getting special treatment because when he was doing his whole appeal process throughout his doping ban, he was still allowed to play. And they oftentimes cite other tennis players like Simona Halep, Maria Sharapova, and other specific situations where they were banned right away. Okay, the reason why they're deferring timelines and outcomes, and I spoke to ChatGPT about this to find the sources, is number 1, what happened was Jannik Sinner was promptly identified that the banned substance, cholesterol, entered his system through a contaminated spray used by his physiotherapist. And the rules stipulated by WADA is that athletes have the right to appeal decisions within a specific time frame, typically 21 days from the date of the decision. In Halep's case, the complexity of the proven contamination contributed to a subsequent legal process that had a prolonged timeline, meaning that for Simona Halep, she did not appeal in time and they did not know exactly where the source of the contamination was until much later in the process. For Jannik Sinner, they were able to figure out it right away, meaning they knew exactly which item it was that caused the doping, which is that spray, who administered it, all of the receipts and exactly why, in terms of timeline, it occurred during that time and why it was detected. There is no conspiracy. There is no people are treated differently. It's just exactly the rules. If within 21 days you appeal, basically the rules say that in fairness to the athlete, if we don't know exactly what's going on, and if we don't know the intention, and we don't actually know for sure that the athlete doped, then they have reason to not get their image smeared through the mud while he's going through the appeal process, and where he's able to continue to play, and basically the individual arbitrator, which is not the WADA Association, is able to investigate in silence without all of the whole media circus, so that it is fair on the athlete. I honestly think that that sounds pretty reasonable. If he was able to show exactly where the negligence came from and exactly where the accidental contamination came from, and it is enough for the arbitrator to be like, okay, let me take a look at this. I think it's totally fair that the public doesn't find out until an actual decision is made, which is what happened in this situation. And it's also in the rules. So there is no conspiracy. There is no better treatment for the athlete. Secondly, people are saying that the 3-month ban is convenient because it is between Grand Slams and he's not really missing any key tournaments. Guys, the reason why it's convenient is because they settled. If it wasn't convenient, Yannick Sinner would not settle. Like, the whole situation with the whole appeal process is basically the individual arbitrator determined the Yannick Sinner's team was correct. That basically he did not intend to use that steroid. It didn't offer him any competitive advantage. He did not knowingly have that administered, and it was basically pointed towards the trainer. Now, you can debate whether or not he got some competitive advantage or if he accidentally doped on purpose or all of this stuff. But the whole point of the court case is to take what you believe in out of it and to have the individual arbitrator assess it independently and to come up with a conclusion. So I'm going to trust that conclusion. And based on that conclusion, Sinner has not doped. So this whole appeal process is just quote unquote WADA trying to take the power back, and will try to say that, oh, we still have some influence over the process. This is just not the individual arbitrator that can determine everything. And it sounds extremely political in nature. Sinner was like, okay, let's just settle here so that we don't have to go through a year-long process, because chances are is that if they go into court, most likely Sinner is going to get a ban that's less than 3 months, because they'll determine that it wasn't his fault. It was just like some negligence. The whole 3-month ban, people are saying, oh, it's so convenient that it's happening. The reason it's happening during this timeline is because it's something that allows WADA to say that, oh, we're still enforcing some rules, and then Sinner being like, okay, you know what, like, this is okay for me. I'll take I'll take responsibility for not being like more careful. However, this is not going to affect my tournaments. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken that ban. The only thing which I think people have made a legitimate argument for, which I do agree with, is that Yannick Sinner, who is extremely rich as the number one player, had the lawyers, had all the ATP Association lawyers, had everyone available to him to be able to appeal the process quickly enough. Now, the rules state that you must appeal the process within 21 days, and you have to provide a legitimate case where the individual arbitrators will come in to actually assess the situation. Otherwise, you're getting a doping ban right away. Now, he has more funds, he has more money to hire the best lawyers to give himself a more convincing case. He has all the resources to do this appeal and handle all the documents on time. You can make the argument that if you're an unranked player and you don't have enough money for the best lawyers in the world, that you will just get banned right away and you have to go through the long process like what Simona Halep did. But arguably, Simona Halep, if anything, doesn't get this pass because she is a ranked player and she could have hired the best lawyers. My point is that it is a valid point that if you don't have enough money, then it will be more difficult to prove your innocence and the process would be longer and you might potentially get suspended longer. But that's the case with everything else, right? I think that's a fundamental problem in general in terms of the court system versus a specific conspiracy or a doping specific issue for tennis and sports as a whole. I hate the Twitter trolls and the Reddit being like, wow, doping, bad. Honestly, it's just super nuanced, and yeah, that's what I wanted to say for Sports Sunday. Okay, I have been talking for way too long. Time to get to work for my homework assignments for today. Some colleagues and friends are coming over for dinner today. I finished one of my assignments yesterday, and now I just have to do the quiz and the peer feedback, so we'll be focusing on that for the rest of the day. However, what you just saw were the drinks that I spent 2 hours driving to get at Trader Joe's, and I don't want a situation where they come in and they're like, "Oh, what's that drink? Can I have one?" Because then I will feel awkward in terms of like me saying no. So the plan is to just hide them. All right, let me show you guys. All right, don't tell them. I mean, I'll post the video and tell them afterwards, but I am hiding the peach mojito and the strawberry sparkling water in here. And then I was too lazy to carry the other two, so I just left them hidden here, which I will now hide with my super healthy roasted nut mix. So now you can't really see. All right. Now that I'm done my quiz, I still have some peer feedback, but I feel like as a responsible host, I should still go to Costco and buy some things, such as fruits. This is perfect. The guests who will come will eat all the chips that I have, and then I will go back to a healthier diet because I will buy all the fruits today that nobody will eat, and I will eat that. Perfect game plan. This is all an elaborate plan to get me to become healthier. That's what it is. Also, based on the things that you see from my day in the life, it might seem that I am extremely antisocial nowadays, given my software engineering job and my courses and working on YouTube, things like that. Now, that is true, but back in the day, this was not the case. When I first came to Vancouver, it was during peak COVID, and first of all, it was really hard to make friends during that time. But then after sort of the initial COVID stuff ended, I definitely hosted my share of like parties, get-togethers, things like that. Most people who met me during that time were like, "Oh, George, such a social person," and it's hard for them to fathom the way I live my life now. But I guess things just evolve and change as sort of stuff goes along. But yeah, back in the day, I remember we used to do like very elaborate things. Like we got like sparklers for nighttime, and then we like the little firework things. I don't know if that's the right word for it. But anyways, we got those things. We also did bonfires, which means carrying the wood down to Rec Beach at UBC, and also doing barbecues outside. Man, in hindsight, that was very exhausting. Very, very exhausting to coordinate all of that, because it would be like 10, 15 people. Yeah, doing social events is definitely a chore. Now I'm just like super lazy. I'm like, oh yeah, just come or just like buy pizza or whatever, like get it delivered. Even me going to the Costco now seems like a lot of effort. And this is why I don't come to Costco on Sundays. This parking congestion is absolutely ridiculous. Alright, I'm just gonna try and find a parking spot, get in, get out as soon as possible. Alright, just finished dinner with everyone. I did a super poor job of filming. I failed as my job as a vlogger, but I do have some comments about the All-Star game that happened tonight. It had so much potential because it was a great idea, but the execution was terrible. You need to at least still treat it like a real game if you want players to play hard. That's all I got to say. Hello everyone. It is already the afternoon of Monday. Today is family day, so it means that we have a holiday. And my vlog for this weekend does not really have a significant storyline. This is probably the first day in a while where I've actually not really done that much work. Honestly, for the past couple months, every Saturday or Sunday, if it's not homework, there's something that I'm doing in terms of YouTube and things like that. I mean, I'm still filming this weekend, but for today, really, it's just been a lazy day. And I attribute it to, oh my god, look at this stupid Porsche. Dude, that guy did not even pay any attention. Okay. Anyways, I attribute to me not doing that much today for a couple of reasons. The first reason is it's been a while since we've had a Monday holiday. And the second thing is I finished all of my homework on Sunday, or at least as much as I could get through on Sunday. So it's a new week, meaning I have another week to procrastinate for the homework for this week. And the final reason is I have a bunch of leftover pizza from the pizza party yesterday. That's really bad for me because the whole idea of the dinner party was for everyone to eat all of my chips so that I could shift towards a healthy diet again. But I think in contrast, what instead happened is people brought a bunch of chips and soda, and now I'm left with a bunch of chips, a bunch of leftover soda, and pizza that I bought that nobody finished. The thing is I probably could have given the pizza away to the people who were there, but I was like, no, I'm keeping it for myself. And lo and behold, in the morning today for breakfast, I decided to have 2 slices of pizza, and then I went to bed and slept for 2 hours like a waste man. I still have to eat it though, so I'm probably gonna have pizza for lunch for like the next week and a half. What this means is if my productivity tanks this week, we know the sole reason for this. But that does remind me, I did buy a blood glucose monitor a couple months ago, and I've never gotten around to taking a look at that. So maybe today is actually the day where I actually use the blood glucose monitor to see how foods like pizza directly impact my blood glucose. It's good that like I have days like these where it's just kind of like an exploration day where I get to do some of the errands that typically I don't get to do on a normal day-to-day basis. So maybe today is finally the day where I actually check out this blood glucose device, because I've always wanted to try it out just to see how certain foods impact my blood sugar levels and how that can influence my energy. Anyways, right now we're driving to Kitsilano Beach, and I think this is one of the rare times where I've decided to go to the beach without a work or school crisis ongoing. This is definitely a change of pace compared to what I usually feel like when we decide to go to the beach. Okay, let's head there now. Man, this street has got some hella old houses. Based on how fast Canadian projects go, expect this to be done in 2030. Probably in one of the more bougie, more historical places of Vancouver. For example, this is the first ever Lululemon store that was open. What do you guys think? This is honestly super comfortable. But I agree, this maybe kind of make me look like a fireman. Apparently these are limited edition, and the only size for the black, which is the one that I want, is XXXL. So even if I did want it, I guess I can't really buy it. Also $600 too, so that's a little bit over my, way over my price range. I think this entire store is a little bit over my price range. Okay, so I made it to the beach, but all that walking to the different stores has left me very exhausted, meaning I am incredibly out of shape, but also I really don't want to walk on the beach anymore. So just enjoying this through my car for the next 10 seconds. Yeah, a lot of these houses here at Kitsilano, they are rebuilding into more modern places, and I've just been like taking a look at them. They do seem really, really nice for this community. Definitely feels like quite the bougie community with tons of $1 million houses. I mean, everything across like this. So yeah, everything across like this street to my left here is, oh, I'm on the wrong side. I was definitely driving the wrong direction there. I was on the bike lane. That was a little bit embarrassing, but hopefully nobody caught wind of that. Anyways, time to head home. Man, this vlog definitely does not have a beginning, middle, and it does not have a 3x structure, but whatever, we're still gonna post it. We'll try to brainstorm ideas for this week, but for now, I'm kind of okay with just taking kind of a break this weekend and not making things too complicated. With that being said, see you guys in the next vlog.